Go, go. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to our wonderful, continuing, amazing. I love it, this show. I do. I really just like it. I suppose it's because I can do anything I like and I've got nobody really complaining that I shouldn't do it this way or that way. Oh, I do have a good life. Right. Welcome. Good morning. It is Thursday morning and it is the spirit world sees all. Do they though? Do they? And of course, we know that they do. Uh, and so much has been going on for the last few weeks. We have Women's Week, which is celebrating women. Um, uh, every kind of woman in every situation. We're going to be celebrating women, and in order to celebrate, to do my part in celebrating, I have two amazing friends. Some of you have met them before. My friend Kay and my friend Kay. Did I say that? Did I say my friend Kay and my friend Kay? I did, because I've got two friends. Both are Kay, spelt the same way, and they're very different people in so many ways, but they have uh, similar interests and curiosities, and I met them each in different ways. We should be talking about that a little bit tomorrow, because we are doing our cracking up show. K for K, the letter K. R-A, me, and K, crack. And in England, I don't know if you have the same term in whichever country you're in, but in my country, if you are cracking up over something, it means that you're laughing, that you're having a good time. And so I just thought, using our initials and making that little sort of, I'm not sure you could call it an anagram, but whatever it is we're making from it, cracking up is our show tomorrow night. We will be doing it. It will be 5 p.m. our time in the USA, and it will be 10 p.m. in England. We're sort of figuring out that that's a good time, and it also means that I don't have to ask my friends to be sitting up until 11 and 12 or 12 at night in order to accommodate those of us in the USA. So it's going to be a very good show, and we are celebrating Women's Week or Women's Month or whatever it is, and you're going to hear all sorts of things. We are going to talk about anything and everything. We are going to be telling you what our connections are. You're going to be seeing how we Brits, how we three girls together hang out. And we, so I welcome you to come and join us then. And hang out with us. If you'd like to bring along a little drink or something, feel free. I certainly might have a vodka tonic. I don't know about the other two. Maybe one of them will have a glass of wine. Maybe the other might have a glass of whiskey. We'll see what goes on. So it's just, we are hanging out. We are going to be cracking up. We're going to be talking about some serious stuff, and we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. But we're celebrating women, and I think we're also celebrating friendships, because these two ladies, I've been friends with these two ladies for so long, I'm sort of not even sure. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Anyway, so that's what we are doing tomorrow. So what else is going on in the world today? Well, we have, of course, our angel action, and our angel action this morning is smile at a stranger. Now, just be careful though. When we talk about smiling at a stranger, if you see an old man in a supermarket and he's struggling, you go and ask him if he's okay, and you give him a smile, and it might be the only smile he had all day, even all week. If you see an older lady, if you see somebody in need, if you see a small child who just needs a smile, by all means, please don't, go overboard. We talk to our children about, what is it? Stranger danger. We tell my grandson. So, we have to be careful about the kinds of strangers we give a smile to. But you know, there are so many people out there in the world who they're on their own. They live on their own. Nobody ever smiles at them. Nobody ever says a nice thing to them. They're just by themselves. They must feel as if they're forgotten, and that's a horrible way to feel. And I myself have felt that a little bit from time to time, but there are people out there who live that every day. So smiling at a stranger is our way of saying to people that we perhaps don't know, but we feel that they just need a little something from us. Good morning, or how are you, or can I help you, or do you need any help with your shopping, or whatever it is that you want to do. And you know, I'm going to tell you a story about that in a minute. It just occurred to me. But smiling at a stranger is it's very important for us as well as for that person who we're giving that smile to, because it makes us feel good too. So it's our way of helping our angels. Yes, and I know now. Look, I'm fully aware. There is also a war going on, and please don't think that I'm being flippant about it when I sort of add it into what else is going on in the world. And you know, did I save the worst for last? Probably I did. But there is a war going on, and we know that Ukraine and we know that Russia are, you know, sort of at it. And this is my sense of things, and we're getting so many emails and we're getting so many comments from people, and I know that everybody's worried on World War III, and you know, and then of course, you know, World War III is going to be, you know, somebody's going to press the button and boom, the whole thing's going to go up. You know, so everybody's worried about that. Everybody's frightened about that. But instead of being glued to your TV screens and watching everything and complaining about Putin and complaining about what's happening in the world, and looking at all of those atrocities and seeing the awful things that are happening, and they are, instead of feeling helpless or horrified, or instead of sort of latching onto it in a negative way and being worried, these are the moments when you hear of things like this going on in the world, and they're not just going on in Russia either, and the Ukraine. You know, people all over the world they're being raped, they're being murdered, they're being tortured. So many awful things going on in this world, and these are the moments when we need to, let's say, combine. And I'm going to be talking about our Hands Around the World healing sessions that we have. And at 11 a.m., wherever you are in the world, at 11 a.m. your time, if you can just spare 1 minute is all we're asking here. 1 minute to send out healing to the world, visualize the world being wrapped, the entire world being wrapped in this unbelievable, beautiful healing energy. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that later on, and I'm sort of looking forward to your comments on that. I know we become desperate because we feel helpless, and helplessness leads to hopelessness. But we are not helpless, and this is what I try to say to people. It takes one small voice, as Greg will tell us. It takes one small voice to rock the world. And if you look over history, you can see that is so true. It takes one small voice, and that small voice is often the negative voice, but can be so powerful. But it's sometimes the positive voice. We took the voice of Christ, rocked the world. It rocked the world and is still rocking the world. We took we heard the voice of some of the amazing popes that we've had, some of the Dalai Lama. Go on and on and on. It takes that one small voice can rock the world. And if we join together, if we voice that prayer and say that prayer for the world, And my one small voice will combine with your one small voice, will combine with other people's small voice. Together, we can rock the world. Together, we are powerful. But in order for us to be powerful, in order for this to work, we really have to focus on not the worst scenario, but the best scenario. What can we do? Because we are not helpless. Therefore, it is not hopeless. We are not useless, we are useful. Therefore, we, with our one small voice and many voices combined, we can change things. And prayer and the energy from people coming from a really good place, from a really positive place, prayer, it's like the energy is like a river that flows. It's like it begins as a small trickle, a small stream, and then another voice is added, and then another voice is added, and on it goes until that small stream turns into a river, which then turns into an ocean. And we can literally, if we all join together, and this is why we do our Hands Around the World healing sessions, this is why it works. We can flood the world with the most incredible and the most beautiful and the most powerful energy. We can make people stop for a moment to think about what they're doing and the responses that they're receiving from their actions. We can change the world. It takes one small voice. And when we think of all of the people in history, we know that that's true, because every now and again, some, let's say, some superhero, Christ is my hero, of course, it takes that one small voice. But think about all the different people that you might know in history whose voices were heard and who made a difference. As I've said, the Dalai Lama, I mean, gosh, look at his one small voice. He's one man with one small voice and heard throughout the world. On and on it goes. So if you can try not to be so despondent, but be positive, take action and take positive action in the form of prayer. Do not think that it's useless. Do not think that your one small prayer is, it's not going to make any difference, because combined with all of us who are sending out our prayers and our healing energy, it makes an enormous, enormous difference. So, with that in mind, I would like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle. I sort of got off on a roll there, didn't I? And he is right here, paying attention and listening. And I would like to say good morning, Chris. Did you expect me to get on a roll?
I love it when you get on a roll. Good morning, Rosemary.
So I'm hoping, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we do, that we are live and that we do have people listening to us. And I know that even if people miss the show, or they're working, or they can't manage to watch it now, people can always come back to the show. And those of you who are live can go back and watch it again and again and again if you want to. And also, those people who don't get to see it, just if you know someone who can't watch this show because they're at work or they're busy or whatever it is, just remind them, hey, you can just go, where would they find it, Chris? On YouTube, right? On Facebook, wherever.
Yeah, you're in a lot of places. We try to be there where people are.
I'm all
Twitter,
over. I'm
Facebook.
everywhere.
There's three different pages on Facebook.
Right.
And then YouTube. I like to think of YouTube as your repository of all your information.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube, you can pretty much find me and find any little thing that I've ever done. Anyway, so Chris, do we have people here today? Do we have people on board this morning?
We do. New people and people we haven't seen in a while. One of the comments, it was interesting to me because one of the very first questions that came in was from Monica, and she was asking about the Ukraine situation. As soon as I was reading it, you were actually speaking about it.
Okay.
So I think you answered her question.
Monica, we're obviously very much in tune there. So I hope you got your answers. Okay, keep
Yes,
going,
most
Chris.
definitely. Robin's here saying she's on your Facebook page. Other people are on your YouTube page. Rhonda says, I don't watch too much news. I know what's going on in the world. I've been watching your healing hands and have been praying for the Ukraine.
Oh, great. Brilliant. We love it. We love it.
And then let's see. Carol asks, this is off topic, but what is your opinion of people like Steve Huff who supposedly bring transposed people through to speak through a spirit box?
Do I have to say? I don't have to say, do I? People have to make up their own minds about this stuff. So I personally would not. I don't know who he is, to be honest. I do not want to disparage anybody. If he believes it and if he gets people there who believe it, everybody makes their own decisions, don't they? So if you believe it and you think it's real, fine. That's as much as I'm saying. There you go. That's it. I'm being very diplomatic now. It's not like me, is it?
Oh, I think it's very much like you, but on things that really count, you'll say what you need to say.
Well, it's hard. Look, people claim to do all sorts of things, and things like this. You can understand why people like Penn and Teller, who are magicians, you can understand why they look at something like this and say, "Well, that's a magic trick," and perhaps it is. But don't judge all of us by the same thing. I have not experienced it. I have not seen it happening, so I can't really comment, can I?
Pamela wants to know, is Angels in Training available as an ebook?
I'm not sure, but it will be soon. Chris and I getting on that, aren't we, Chris?
Yes, we are. We'll have to do a review of all kinds of things. So that might be a good thing for anybody who's in our chat room or who watches this later to say, what are you hoping for? What's working? What's not working from the materials that Rosemary has for you?
Right. And if anybody can help us to sort out how do we get that to be an ebook, because there are two or three of my things on ebook, but somehow or another we don't get paid for it, we don't have access to it, we have no idea who put them up there, and what can I tell you? So we would like to be much more in control of what goes on. And of course, Chris and I, well, I shouldn't speak for you, Chris, you're much more computer literate than I am, but I have no clue.
I will just say that if you only have things in written form, in book form, that I think, yes, one of our goals should be to get everything ebook, Kindle ready, that sort of thing.
But we do have some of our meditations out there as well. And however they were put up, I can't get into them and I can't get hold of them. And if you're paying for my meditations, I'm getting nothing at all there. I've no idea where the money goes to or who it goes to. So we have to investigate these things, don't we, Chris?
Yes. Dean saying hello from the frigid tundras of Wisconsin. And
Good morning, Dean.
He's saying your flowers are beautiful and they must smell really good.
Oh gosh, they
smell
really
wonderful.
do. They're hyacinths, if anybody's wondering what they are, and the scent is amazing, really. Yeah.
All right, Cheryl's asking, is there any psychic energy coming from the Ukraine? I feel like I am picking up all the pain, fear, sadness coming from there.
Well, that's because of your sensitivity, and you're sensitive enough and aware enough that you're feeling all of that. And anyone who is, sensitive in that way will feel that. And I mean, again, these are the moments where when you feel that pain and you feel that despair, these are the times when you can literally turn it around. I'm going to send them some healing. I'm going to give them some healing. I'm going to send that entire country some healing. And also, not just the Ukraine, but Russia too. We need to think, we need to think of the things that are going on in the world, and why are people so eager to start wars? And were they eager, or was there a reason? Because nobody seems to know why this is happening. Nobody can quite pinpoint the exact reason why it's happening, but I'm sure that Putin didn't just wake up one day and say, "Well, let's start a war with the Ukraine." So let's send healing to all of them. Those who we might see as villains perhaps aren't so villainous, but it's not our job to judge. Let's just send healing around the world. And why don't we, Chris, if we can take a minute, why don't we sit and I'm going to show you all how you can literally help to send healing to the world. So the first thing we have to do is we have to sit quietly. So, if you're sitting listening to this, shuffle yourself, make sure you're in a comfortable spot. If you can, lay your hands palms upwards on your lap in a receiving position like this. I don't know where lost my other hand.
No, you're good.
Wait a minute. Oh, my camera's back to front. That's right. So I was trying to get. Okay, so you lay your hands on your lap in a receiving position. Breathe in through your solar plexus, just as we do when we're giving healing, when we're sending healing to people, just as we do when we're having a healing session. We need to center ourselves. We need to become quiet. We need to become in place, let's say. We need to be calm and we need to be relaxed. Take a nice deep breath in through your solar plexus. Bring that breath up into your lungs. Hold it. And then let it go. And what we're doing here is we're breathing in the energy of the universe. We're breathing in that God force. We're breathing in that God energy. And as we're doing that, and I want you to continue to do that, as I say the healing prayer, dear God, please allow us to be a part of this healing process that we're asking if we can join with you, with that God force, with that universal God force, if we can join our energy with yours and be part of the healing process. Dear God, we would like to send healing around the world. We would like to give this world of ours some healing. Dear God, please allow us to join with you in order to do that. And dear God, I will to thy will. Then I would like you to, if you can, close your eyes, taking in nice breath, being as calm and as clear as you possibly can. And then I would like you to visualize, if you can, a rainbow. I want you to visualize this world of ours, and I want you to visualize a rainbow of colors going around and around and around the world. This rainbow of colors, the blues, the greens, the golds, the yellows, the purples, all these beautiful colors, they're all healing colors that we are cloaking this world of ours in. We're creating a sort of a net, a cloak that goes around the world, that permeates through the world and sends out healing to all of those who need it. Of course, in this particular instance, we're thinking about the Ukraine and we're thinking about Russia. All of the people in both of those countries, we want them to have this peace, this calm, this tranquility that healing brings. But, dear God, we will to thy will. Which means that whatever God chooses and however he chooses to use our energy, that's what we're agreeing to. So visualize this world of ours and visualize it being cloaked in this incredible and beautiful rainbow of colors, which is pure and beautiful healing. And hold that thought and hold that vision. If you can visualize it, if you can see it in your mind's eye, that's great. But if you're thinking about it, if you're just thinking about it and thinking about the world being embraced, cloaked in this beautiful, beautiful healing, this beautiful healing energy, this universal God force that surrounds us. And if you just think about that and visualize that and try to see that we are part of giving this world of ours a little taste of healing, a little drop of healing, and a little drop goes an awfully long way. Take another breath. Breathe in, and then let it go and let your energy flow. And join with God and join with that God force. Allow that God force to absorb your energy, to use your energy. Be a part of this healing process by giving of your energy in a very calm and a very gentle and a very peaceful way. You don't have to work hard at it, just very gently and very peacefully. Remember that Great Eagle tells us your world needs gentleness. And so threaded through all of this healing that we are giving, that we are sending out, is gentleness to all who need it. And another deep breath. And we're done. And that's all you need to do with our healing minute, 11 a.m., wherever in the world you are, 11 a.m., just stop for a moment and give 1 minute's thought to our healing prayers. Okay, Chris, let's keep going.
Vera says, angels have been seen in the sky in the Ukraine. Spiritual warfare. They protect the Ukraine people. Do you believe this? They stopped many times the Russians, the tanks, and so.
I think that, as I've just said, I think there are angels on both sides, on all sides. It's so easy for us to say, point the finger and say that this person is at fault and that person is at fault. But as we're giving healing, that is not what we're doing. That is not our mission. We are simply sending healing, and that's what I would like to focus on. Are angels around us? Are angels everywhere? Yes, they are. Chris.
Annalie says, this is Annalie from Holland. I want to pray together with you all to let rock the world.
Hi, Annalie. How are you?
Let's see. Tracy is saying, hi, Rosemary and Great Eagle. Has Great Eagle got any message from my dad or brother for me?
Not today, but Tracy, keep trying. Keep trying.
Carol says, perhaps the works from spirit boxes could be a percussor for people to find you. It's possible.
Okay. I think you mean a precursor, Chris.
Sorry, just reading.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, let's be clear. Those in the spirit world know exactly how to find me. They don't need to come through boxes of any kind or come through anybody else. That's Grey Eagle's job. they come to find Grey Eagle. If they want to find someone like me, all they have to do is to ask, to put it out there, and they will be helped to find, you know, they will be helped to find somebody who's able to communicate with them. Of course, we as human beings, and we have our own choices and so on, we can choose to, you know, just find anybody at all, whether they've got qualifications or not. And you know, just we have to be so careful, don't we, when we're choosing someone to do this kind of thing for us. But if those in the spirit world need to communicate, then trust me, they will be helped to do it. And I can also assure all of you out there, nobody needs to come through a box for me. I can remember my sister many years ago. My sister came to stay, and we were both young women at the time. And she was asking me, well, how does it work? What happens? What, you know, what do I do? And she was actually sitting on the floor at the time, and I said, just sit quietly, close your eyes. And we did a similar exercise to what we just did. And as I'm looking at her, she's sort of in that sort of like a nice, relaxed state. But as I looked at my sister, my father was shrouded over her face, and it did look sort of rather like a shroud. I could see him so clearly, and I knew that it was him using my sister's energy to show himself to me, which was, it was fantastic. It was amazing. Of course, my sister was totally unaware of this, except that when we'd finished the exercise, she said to me, oh my goodness, it was so clear, I saw Dad. And I'm laughing, and I said, yes, so did I. Not that I need to see my dad in that way, but when you know, when you see someone, when you have someone in the spirit world who imposes their energy upon you, that they do that kind of thing, it's amazing, because it's almost like a physical connection rather than a spiritual connection, and it was pretty awesome. Man, I see my dad like that was pretty awesome. So it's very nice of you to think that maybe, you know, it's a precursor to people finding their way. But I can assure you that anyone in the spirit world who wishes to talk to somebody here on this earth, they will find an absolute way. They will not be lost. They will be shown how to do it. However, if their loved ones here on this earth are not playing, or don't want to play, or don't want to do it, hey, there's nothing we do about it. You know, it's rather like those in the spirit world, it's rather like them looking through a window, and they can see everything we're up to. But for the most part, you know, they're calling to us, they're shouting to us, they're sending their love to us, whatever it is, but we're oblivious to it. So it's a bit like they're looking through a plate glass window, they're banging on the window, but we're not listening to them. So it's not that they can't do it, it's that those of us who are here on this earth are not listening or paying attention as we should, or as we could. I like to think that I am a vandal. I like to think that I'm that person who goes around breaking those windows, shattering the glass and letting people in. And believe you me, they are waiting in droves. Chris.
So just before you started the healing, Rhonda said she was showering Russia and the Ukraine with a cloud of blue for healing and a burst of green for peace.
Great.
And Vera said, I've been praying many times to Jesus and the Archangel, Saint Michael, to go to help the Ukraine and the people.
Okay. Now, just one little heads up, everybody here. If you notice in my prayer, there is this it's a small part in the prayer, but it's the most important. Dear God, I will to thy will. So when I give healing, whether I have a patient with cancer and they have a tumor, I'm not necessarily going to say I want to get rid of the cancer. I'm not, when I start healing, going to say, you know, there's a children's orphanage and I'm going to focus all my attention there. I trust God and God's will, and I trust God to know my heart. So if I'm thinking of that children's home and I want to send healing, I know that God knows my heart, and a lot of that energy and a lot of that positiveness will go there. But it is not for me to decide how and when or who I'm going to send healing to, because I'm joining with that God force, that I'm asking permission. Dear God, please allow me to be a part of your healing process. Allow me to join my energy with yours. I think it would be, you know, certainly for me, it would be a little impudent of me to decide the best place. God knows. Sometimes we have to let go and let God. So I do understand why you're focusing on the Ukraine. I do understand why you're focusing on Russia, where you're focusing, where you're putting your energy. But my suggestion is, you remember I said, let's put a net around the world so that the world can be balanced. It can be at peace. And if there is any imbalance in the world, then God knows better than we do. And he knows why it's there. And if we're going to say, can you use me? Can I give you my energy to use? Then I think we have to trust him to know where it should go rather than we dictating. I think we should let go and let God. I hope that makes sense to all of you. Chris.
Chris says, I was overcome with emotion as we started the healing. Very powerful. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I hope you'll do it every day. It only takes a minute. Did you notice that? We were hardly there. And I think it makes such a huge difference to this world of ours. And this is why we have our healing hands around the world. And if you want to join with us in our healing hands around the world, then go to our healing page on Facebook and, you know, or email Chris and say, how do we join? How can we join? And we'll say your thoughts. If you put your thoughts to ours, thoughts are living things. Thoughts are the most powerful and the most positive thing we possess. A tiny pulse of a tiny little thought is a tiny pulse of energy which goes out there to the universe. Can you imagine? Boom, 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 boom. It's going out there into the universe and traveling through the universe. And if that thought is a healing thought and a positive thought, it's going to go out there and it's going to combine with all of that good, positive, healing energy within this world of ours. It's going to combine. And likewise, if our thoughts are negative continually, and all we're doing is putting out negative thoughts, then we're putting out negative energy. So, you know, strive to try not, I know it's hard to do, but strive to try, if you can, not to do that. Chris.
All right. So many things just came in at once. Carol says, I got dizzy from this meditation and it was powerful.
Well, good. You need to be sitting down, darling. Don't breathe too hard. I think you were trying a little bit too hard. You wanted to be involved, and the best way to do it is to do it gently, softly, slowly. And if some of you want to know more about healing, if you go to YouTube and go to Hands Around the World, there are lots of videos there of me explaining to you what you need to do, how you need to sit, how you need to, what prayers you need to say, how you can visualize, how you can raise your level of consciousness. There are lots and lots of videos there. So if you want to go and find out how to give more of that stuff, there it is for you. And it will not, when we're giving healing to others and we're sending out healing to others, remember also, and I talk about this in the videos, you have to give healing to yourself first. I encourage all of my students to be very, very selfish. You've got to give healing to you first, because if you are drained from continually giving healing to other people, you're going to end up sick. You're going to end up being no use to anybody. You've got to feed yourself first, and then once you are nourished, you are then much more able to go out and feed others. Now that does make sense, doesn't it? Okay, Chris.
Wookie Bear says, I was wondering if my son-in-law has any messages for me. Once in a while, I feel him around.
Oh, that's so nice that you feel him around. You need to work on that a little bit and stop and pay attention and see what he's trying to say to you, because I'm sure he's trying to say something to you. Right now, I don't have anything. I think right now we're focusing on sending out healing. And even as I'm talking to you, I'm continuing to send out healing throughout the world, throughout the universe. I'm here with Grey Eagle, and we are using our energy to that end, and of course sending out healing to every single one of you too. Chris.
Helen says, I'm curious if you're a coffee drinker, and also, what's your favorite breakfast?
I don't drink coffee. I'm not allowed to drink coffee or tea. Oxalates. I'm saying that word like it's a magic word. Oxalates. When oxalates, there are lots of food that contain oxalates, and when oxalates get into the bloodstream, they act like a magnet to calcium. They literally go like that to each other. They love each other. Oxalates and calcium just love each other, and they form crystals, which then form clusters of crystals, which then get into your kidneys. And so, because I only have one kidney and I have little issue with that one kidney, I'm really trying to be very, 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 very careful. If you saw the list of foods that I'm not allowed to eat or drink, you would be stunned. But I cheat from time to time. I have a soda stream, so I like mango with soda, and it's not really soda, it's sort of carbonated water. I like mango juice, and I like grapefruit juice. I'm not allowed orange juice. Would you believe that? How I can't eat oranges. I can eat nectarines, but I can't eat oranges. On and on it goes. Anyway, what is my favorite breakfast? Well, I love oatmeal and with honey and a little milk, and I do indulge myself from time to time with English muffins, which I toast. I'm not allowed to put marmalade on, so this is one of my cheats. I put a little smidgen on of good old fashioned English marmalade with lots of chunky stuff on. I think that's it, right? Was that that's the end of the question, right? And
Yeah.
I like toast, of course. I love bacon. I had a bacon sandwich for my dinner yesterday because I love bacon sandwiches. And according to my sister, I make the best bacon sandwiches in the world. And my bacon sandwiches, I have to say, even though I don't think I do anything different than anyone else, I think it's got to do with the amount of butter I put on and the amount of crisp I put on the bacon as well. Anyway, let's not get into food, Chris. I should start to get hungry. I made a delicious chicken salad the other day. I like to keep chicken salad in my fridge because it's one of my go-tos. Right, keep going.
All right. Karen's asking, how old were you when you first remembered seeing those in the spirit world or getting messages from the spirit world?
Oh my goodness. Well, very tiny. I think I don't remember a time when I didn't. How old was I when I was consciously aware of them? I might have been 2 or 3. From the time I can remember, being very small, and being very, very small. And I used to see faces looming over the bed, and even when I would hear voices whispering as well at me, and even though I would hide under the covers and be trembling and terrified under the covers, I would still see those faces. The covers made no difference whatsoever, and I would still hear the voices. And I grew up. It's an odd thing. I say to people, I lived in 2 worlds. Because a lot of my life, a lot of my time, a lot of my energy was spent with those in the spirit world, because that was my world. So I was terrified of that. But I also lived in this human world, this physical world, and I was terrified of that. I was terrified of my parents, and I was, sort of terrified of going to bed at night. But I was so terrified of my mother that I daren't say that I was terrified to go to bed, and on it goes. So it was a weird situation. But luckily, I was saved eventually, and here I am. And if you want to know more about all of that, you must get the book, The Eagle and the Rose, and you can go to Lulu for it, or you can email Chris, Kris, at rosemaryatea.com and say, where do I get their books? And she'll tell you exactly where to get them from. Chris.
Cheryl's asking, do relatives on the other side still think of us even after so many years have passed? I have a favorite aunt I still miss.
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, my darling, because I have not seen my Auntie Loseby. I'm not sure I've ever really seen her in the spirit world, but here she is, sort of waving at me. I haven't seen her since I was a child, and she's not my real aunt either, but she's blowing kisses at me as I'm talking to. So the answer to your question is, wow, yeah. Yes, that has really taken me by surprise. She used to make me lemon curd tarts.
I was just going to ask you that. Is she holding up a lemon curd tart?
When I was traveling around, and when the book, The Eagle and the Rose, first came out, and I talked about my Auntie Loseby, so many people, we had loads of sessions in bookshops, and we did lots of events and so on, and people would come up to me with little pastries with lemon curd in them, and although they were, well, I suppose they were the American version or whatever of lemon curd tarts, but English lemon curd tarts are a whole different thing. I think what I'll do is one day I'll make some lemon curd tarts, and I'll show you what they look like. They're delicious. They are really, really delicious. Problem is, you can't get the right shaped pans here. If anybody in England wants to send me a tart pan, nice and shallow tart pan, because muffin pans do not work. They are not the same at all. And you can't buy tart pans here, not that I've ever seen anyway. Anyone knows where I can get them, let me know. Please let me know. Anyway, so here's my Auntie Rosemary. Wow. So I'm going to have a conversation with her later, I hope. Okay, keep going. She totally took me by surprise.
That's so awesome, because I know what a huge difference she made in your life as a young child.
Massive. I mean, I would be 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. She was she and her son and daughter, a daughter-in-law, Tony and Sheena, Uncle Tony and Aunt Sheena, they showed me what it's like to be loved in a world where I was never loved. Boy, they were. And my Auntie Loseby, she used to show me how to feed the chickens, and then take me into this pen that she had, and we'd make mash together and all the rest of it. And she's laughing and crying as I'm talking here. So I have wonderful memories of her, I hope. Oh, and she's talking about us singing together and singing hymns, and my voice and my singing when I was a little girl. Geez, let's move on. This is not.
Oh no, we love these little snippets. We love hearing from Aunt. Yes, we do. Okay. Even Cheryl said, that's so funny. I asked that question about my aunt, and yours appeared. That's awesome.
Well, that's what I was saying. How it's not really weird, is it? But yeah, very serendipitous, as we like to say. But yes, my Auntie Loseby is here. And for those of you who are wondering, who is Auntie Loseby? Her name was actually Mrs. Loseby. I never ever knew her first name. That's something I'm going to see if she'll tell me later. But anyway, she was somebody who took, my mother paid her to take me for school holidays, the summer holidays, the Easter and Christmas and so on holidays. and I was sort of shoved off. I think I've told you all the story of my mother shouldn't say shoving me in an orphanage, but I was twice put into an orphanage, and then Auntie Loseby took the place of that, I suppose. But it was, I think, if my mother had known how they nurtured me and how they cared for me and how they loved me, she'd have taken me out of there, because she wouldn't have liked it at all. Isn't that an awful thing to say about your mother? But anyway, that's how it was. They were lovely, and my Auntie Loseby was lovely. She was very old, because I was very young, but she was very old. And it's a funny thing, because when I was talking to Reese, when my grandson and my daughter were here, and Reese was, talking about different things, and I was saying, look, I'm an old lady, and I was looking at him and thinking that he was sort of roughly the age that I knew my Auntie Loseby, and I must seem to him like she seemed to me in those days, sort of old and a little bit smelly. Um, in the nicest way. Chris, let's move on.
All right. Well, Helen had asked a question as a follow-up that you've already answered, and it was about, did you ever tell your parents about what you saw in the spirit world? And if you did, what was their response? I think you've answered that.
Yeah, I didn't actually ever tell them. But, very often I'd, wake up and I'd be crying, or I'd have a nightmare. This is my mother's response. She was so good at bashing you across the head. Her hand was the hardest. Whack across the head. Shut up, go to sleep. Don't be ridiculous. And that was her response. You see, my wonderful, wonderful childhood. I'm spilling all the stuff for you. Keep going, Chris.
All right. Carol's got a question about her health. She had been in a car accident, and today she's opted to work a horse. This will be the first time since a long time since her accident, and she's worried. Do you or Great Eagle have any advice to share?
We'll be right there with you, Carol. And take it easy. Don't think you can do more than you can. Take it slow. If you take it slow, and I know what you're like. You like to you want to get in there and be, what you would say, be normal again and get on with it again, but be cautious. Just not too cautious, because that can be a bad thing also. But just remember that, this is, you're sort of coming back into it now. So be cautious with how you move, be cautious with your body and so on, and just be really cautious around your knee area as well. Just be cautious there, and just take your time, and you'll be fine. And we will definitely be there.
There is asking, do you think the devil is having his time right now? Everything is going bad around the world. It happened to too many bad things. Can we exorcist him and say that he is not welcome?
No, I don't think I don't think it's got anything to do with the devil. I think it's that, so many things are happening. And, if you go back in time and you look at how people lived, and let's just go back to Victorian times. There were the plagues, there was the London fire, there was you name it, all over the world things were happening. But people did not have televisions, they did not have cell phones, they did not have microwaves, they did not have a supermarket where they could go and buy their meal if they wanted to. They did not have telephones to order pizza. We are a spoiled nation of people, not just a nation of people. We are around the world. We are so used to the luxuries. We don't even consider them as luxuries anymore. At one time, people who had a cell phone were wow, they were really rich, or they really needed it for their work or something. I mean, little kids of 8 and 10 have cell phones now. We are such a pampered race. This human race of ours is so filled with the luxuries and so on, that when hardships come along, they whack us in the head because we're just not prepared for them. We're just not ready for them. And the negativity that comes from that, which is why I'm saying, you know, this is why we did our healing exercise today. It's so easy to go down that downward track of, well, you know, poor me and poor us, and look how the world is today. Take a look at what it was like when they used to paint crosses on the doors of people who were infected with the plague. I mean, can we just, you know, sort of just take a step back here and just think about this for a second. In my life is not destroyed in any way, shape, or form. There are things going on around me that I can't do anything about except pray. And there are things that are going on around me that I can do something about, and therefore I do. But my attitude is, let's get on with it. Let's do the best we can. Let's put out our good energy. And there are so many people out there being despairing. You know, they're struggling to pay bills. They're struggling with illnesses and so on and so forth. I get it, but it's nothing new. This is nothing new. It's just that we are, and, you know, I'm not berating anyone here. I'm not trying to give anyone a lecture. I'm just trying to open your eyes to the facts. We are such a pampered human race in so many ways. I mean, I remember being in Egypt and traveling out to the desert. And as we're traveling out to the desert, we stop, we see this place that's got lots of different earthenware pots and things outside. And we stop to see if they are for sale. And it's literally is a mud hut, and we are invited inside, which is a very great honor. And we're offered this very strong sort of coffee drink, very sweet. And they invite us inside, and they invite us inside this, and it's a hut. It's like a sort of three-sided hut, and one side is sort of almost open, with a mud floor, mud walls. I don't remember what the roof was, but it probably was grass or something like that. There were no chairs. There was the family sitting in there, sitting on the floor, on the mud floor. And right in the middle of all of this, no furniture, no kitchen, no nothing. They cooked out everything outside on some sort of a grill or what have you. And I don't mean an electric grill either. And sitting right in the middle of this mud floor was their pride and joy. And every single member of the family who wasn't outside selling these earthenware pots, every single person was sitting glued to this little TV on a stand. It was like on a metal stand, and the TV was there, and everybody was glued to it. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine living like that? And they were happy because they had a television set in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. They had a TV set. And it's sort of, you know, we really do have to stop and think. I mean, every time we go out of the door, the majority of us, what do? We take our bag, or we put our phone in our pocket, our keys to our cars in our pocket. Let's get real, shall we? Get real. It's, you know, the devil, you've mentioned the devil is in the details here. And the details are that we're so pampered that if something goes, if our cell phone doesn't work, if we can't plug it in to charge it up, it's a catastrophe. We are so pampered. So let's get real. Let's get our feet on the ground here, shall we? Yes, awful things are happening around the world, with no doubt whatsoever. And we are hopeless to do anything about it, or are we? Didn't we just do something? You're only hopeless if you allow yourself to be. The mind is the most powerful thing that we possess, and our thoughts are living things. So we are not hopeless at all. We just might feel a little bit like it, but I'm trying to remind you all, the power of prayer is the most positive and the most powerful thing that we have. And every one of us can do that, every single one of us. So let's get real about it all. And now I do feel I'm lecturing everybody, and I feel very badly about it. Chris, how are we doing? Are you there, Chris? Hello? Hello, hello. Have I just given that lecture all to myself? Okay, well, all right. Well, if anybody's listening, it's time. I don't know where Chris went to. I'm going to continue carrying on here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to Grey Eagle. We shall be here tomorrow night, Friday night, cracking up at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. English, British time. And until I see you again, if you don't make it then, we'll be doing story time on Saturday morning. Until then, please everybody have a very, very, very blessed rest of the day. Bye-bye.